Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the 37th episode of DC Animation with Spencer and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I'm joined by a dear friend.
Hello, everybody. My name is Micah Rahim, and I am indeed a dear friend.
Yes, so happy to have you here with me
Happy to
today.
be here. Thanks, man.
So, the people have heard your voice before. You were on an earlier episode, but it has been a while. So, could you remind the people about your DC consumption? Comic books, shows, movies, video games. What DC do you take in?
More video games than anything. I played the Arkham series religiously, Injustice and things like that. So a lot of my knowledge comes from that. Not really big uh, comic book reader as far as DC goes, but I do pay attention to the big things that happen. Right, the highlights or the things that stand out. I am kind of privy to the new eras of the generations that DC goes to. I couldn't stay in the conversation for long, right? But I could grab a few nuggets and understand. Right. So
Okay, I like it. Like it. Well, I appreciate you for joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is Justice League versus the Fatal Five,
yes.
released March 30th, 2019. So I'm going to read a synopsis in 9 words, and then we're just going to talk about it.
All right.
So we open with the Legion of superheroes being attacked by the Fatal Five. The Fatal Five take the time sphere and go to the 21st century. Starboy is able to hitch a ride and lock down the sphere with the villains inside as it crashes to Earth. Superman catches it, stopping it from hurting anybody, and Starboy lands and discovers that his medicine has been destroyed on impact. Starboy finds a pharmacy and tries to get his medicine, but the pharmacist has no idea what he's talking about. So he figures, oh, the costume is the problem. So he takes it off, and his nakedness is more of a problem. So the pharmacist flees and goes to get the police. Starboy runs away and finds Batman, who knocks him out. Out in the forest, some youths are walking and come across a murderer. Wrong place, wrong time, because two of the youths get executed and the third one runs away. Jessica Cruz, the youth, is struggling to even leave her apartment after surviving the traumatic experience. P.S. She's a Green Lantern, which is, a stressful job. Wonder Woman shows up to ask why she keeps dodging the League's calls. Over at the news station in Gotham, Bloodsport has taken everybody hostage, and Miss Martian and Batman stop him. She is trying to prove herself to Batman, and Batman gives her a lecture on the mistakes that she made. Mr. Terrific and Superman are studying the sphere, and they manage to open it, which frees the villains, and they escape. They fight, and Superman gets a pretty bad wound as the villains leave. Over at Arkham Asylum, Starboy is making friends and, doing all right when he sees that fight on the news. This triggers his memories, so he uses his powers to break out of Arkham. The League meets up to compare notes and they head over to Portland. The villains start just wreaking havoc to draw out Jessica to capture her, and it works. Starboy and the League show up and, they start throwing hands. And Superman shows up and the villains decide it's time for a tactical retreat. Jessica and Starboy bond, and Batman tells Miss Martian to link their minds so that they can, know what he knows. While in his mind, they see a fight between the Legion and the Fatal Five and the capture of Emerald Empress. No prison in their time could hold her, so they have to drop her off in the 21st century. After coming out of his mind, the Fatal Five deliver a threat. Give us the Green Lantern or we will start flattening cities. So bombs start going off all over the place, and the League's got to go, contain the damage. The Fatal Five reach out to Jessica through her ring, and she takes them to Oa. They chose this time because the majority of the Green Lanterns are busy fighting a war on Ran. Jessica opens the cell and, a few Green Lanterns show up to try to help, but it's too late. The cells are open and the Fatal Five, the entire Fatal Five, is free. So, uh, Jessica's ring gets cut, and Emerald Empress siphons all of the energy from the Green Lantern Central Power Battery. The League is able to handle all of the bombs, but now the Fatal Five has returned to Earth to collect the Time Sphere. Emerald Empress proposes a plan to destroy the sun, which would destroy any opposition from their own time before it even starts. The League makes their way to the Time Sphere, and the fighting begins. Over on Oa, Jessica wakes up, fixes her ring, and manages to ask it to bring her back home before she passes out. The League handles four of the five Fatal Five before being subdued by the Emerald Empress. She enacts her plan to destroy the sun, and the Fatal Five get in the Time Sphere to head back to their own time, but Jessica shows up right on time to stop them. She drops a mountain on them, presumably killing them, but she doesn't stop the eye from making its way to destroy the sun. So Superman attempts to stop it, but he doesn't make it in time. So Jessica and Starboy, they go up there, and Starboy uses his power to hold the sun together, sacrificing himself. At Starboy's funeral, the Legion uh, comes from the future to pay their respects, and Miss Martian is voted into the League as a full-time member. And that's the movie. So, Michael, what'd you think of the movie?
So I love the movie. I thought it was dope. I do have a few problems, but the problems that I have are a part of what make the movie so awesome, right? Like I feel like if you can make me angry at something or just provoke my emotion, a strong emotion for anything that happened in the movie, that you're on the right track, right? And so if you want to get into that, there are some things that I definitely want to talk about. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Before we get into the movie itself, first question, what did you think of the art style?
I dug it. It was kind of a classic art style, right?
That's exactly what it was, because
Yeah.
this movie takes place in the Justice League Unlimited universe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, and that's one thing that we're going to talk about here shortly. But of course, what do you think about the voice cast?
I dug the voice cast. I think they did well. I didn't hate it. So and I'm used to it. It's I'm used to their voices. So their cast.
Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, same. Like this is the voice cast that I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, this feels right.
Yep.
For the most
Exactly.
part.
Yep.
So, um, as I said, this movie takes place in the same universe as like the Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, like that universe. So that is interesting to me because there is a Fatal Five episode of Justice League Unlimited, and in that episode, they do the reverse. So in that episode, instead of the Fatal Five going to the past, the Legion of Superheroes end up bringing Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and Supergirl to the 31st century.
Oh.
And then, they fight the Fatal Five, which is the same five people, and they're able to defeat them. And then Supergirl, like, decides, I'm just going to stay here. So it was weird to me that knowing that episode happened, they chose to make this movie exist in that same universe.
Right. Right.
Because,
Yeah, that is weird. It's
like,
not
why?
canon, is it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so y'all just forgot that y'all did that episode? I guess you did. But whatever. I will say the updated versions of the like character designs are better.
Yeah.
But for the most like some of the characters look literally exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like dude with the brain, like the same.
Yep.
Like didn't
I,
change him one bit.
I think I base my preference on how Batman looks, right? Because I think
Yep.
he changes the most. Um, I think his different costume variations, right, and the way they decide to draw him, uh, really affects how I see the whole thing, right? Because Superman is pretty much cut and dry. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, in everything that I've seen anyway, uh, and not much variation. But Batman, right? Like how Batman looked in this one, kind of set it for me. All right, so
Okay. Okay. So, we can go ahead and start talking through the movie. So, we open with the Legion of Superheroes fighting the Fatal Five. So first question, had you ever seen the Fatal Five? I mean, I guess other than in Justice League, or had you seen the Legion of Superheroes, or are you familiar with them at all?
no, this is my first. This is the first time I've seen them.
Okay. So yeah, we've seen them like in other things here and there, but yeah, this is I mean this is a movie about them. But like I said, there is a Justice League Unlimited episode about it. As far as the Emerald Empress, like the one with the eye of
Yeah.
Ekron, I'm guessing that's a mantle or they're just different people who have that name because in Young Justice, the most recent season I think 4 of Young Justice, Zod's wife ends up becoming the Emerald Empress because the
Mm,
eye chooses her.
gotcha.
And so based on that, I'm like, oh, I guess it's a mantle,
Yeah.
like something that can be,
Passed down
yeah, or
or
something that can be
somebody
bestowed.
chosen or yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what her real name is, but I'm sure she's got several of them. So, we see, them fighting each other and they get in the time sphere and they head to the 21st century and Starboy is able to hitch a ride. And we learn pretty early that he needs his medicine in order to be okay.
You know,
And he is not able to get because he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't need it right now. And then they land and it's the Legion of Superheroes is the 31st century, which I don't know if the movie mentions, but yeah.
it does. It did.
So so yeah. And they land in different places. So Starboy is able to, lock down the time sphere and put them in like a stasis mode, and he lands in Gotham while that lands in Metropolis, which, glad that worked out. So uh Superman is like, I don't know what this thing is, but I'm just gonna take it to somebody who can figure it out, Mr. Terrific. That's a smart dude. I believe in him. And Batman, of course, he's, on patrol, roaming the streets.
Yep.
And Starboy is like, hey, a pharmacy. Cool. I need whatever the medicine is. And she's like, I don't know
Right.
what you're talking about, sir. He's like, oh, it's the most common, mind
Yeah.
medicine in the galaxy, whatever. It's like, oh, it's the costume that's scaring you. Ah, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Just go ahead and turn that off. And that's worse. So cool. She's like, I know. She leaves. She gets the police. And the police are like, hey, freeze. And he flees, runs into Batman, and Batman knocks him the fuck out
Yep.
because that's what you do in that situation.
Yep.
And Batman's like, he's unstable. Let's just take him to Arkham. Nice and easy. That's what happens in this
He
situation.
fit the profile.
Yeah, anytime I find somebody who's mentally unwell, they go to Arkham. That's just what happens. And so then we see Jessica Cruz's kind of origin story. Well, and origin story kinda. Like we just see she had a traumatic experience and then she's living life and is a Green Lantern. So we just see that, some young people are out in the forest because that's what young people do, I guess. And
Down the forest.
they come across, a murder and not good for them.
No.
They
And they don't immediately run away.
no they don't. They get executed. 2 of them anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
she has to see 2 of her friends get executed. She flees. Luckily, she falls and lives because, if somebody falls, they're alive. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
like, nobody really falls
Off
to
a
their
cliff.
death in
Yeah, no.
superhero movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
There's like
like,
there's a window that you gotta make, and then you survive.
yeah. So that happens, and so we see that she is just, still dealing with the trauma, but she is going to therapy, she is seeing somebody about it. She is, trying to be better, and she is making efforts to, leave her house and,
Yep.
you know, continue life because that's how it's got to be. And so, I don't think it's super, and it may be getting more common, but it's definitely not. I don't see it in a bunch of stuff where they address kind of the like mental health things that people can go through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think
They did
that's
a good job
becoming,
with this one.
yeah, I think it's becoming more and more like shown, and there's been a bit of a spotlight put on it, and
Hmm.
it is showing that like no, people go through things, and
Yeah.
even even people with superpowers, even people that can do all of these things, they still have these things that they go through as well based on their experiences and what they've been through.
Yep.
Because she's in a situation where with her Green Lantern ring, that will never happen to her again. And yet she still has fear when it comes to even being out in the world based on that.
Yep. Yeah. And good on DC for showing that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, like
Mental
it's
health.
been some time and she's still
Hmm.
struggling with that. And
Yep.
so Wonder Woman, after her therapy session, Wonder Woman shows up and she's like, you've been dodging us. What's the deal? And
Yeah.
she's basically like, I'm not, no, I'm not ready to be a superhero.
Yeah. Dude,
And
she was absolutely toxic.
yeah,
What
like,
if she was
no,
definitely a toxic friend or
but I mean,
whatever.
but Wonder Woman, that's the thing. Wonder Woman's about business, and Wonder Woman doesn't have an understanding for like the mental health issues that regular humans would go through.
No, she gonna
And
swing on you.
she gonna swing on you.
She gonna swing
And
on you. Wake the
that's
fuck up. That's what I heard.
yeah,
Wake
like
the
what are you doing? Get your ass in the gym.
right.
We got work to do.
Yeah. So
So
she Kobe. Yeah.
yeah, and it's so funny because one of the things that I noticed is whenever Jessica said ask John to do it, she was talking about John Stewart, who was
Hmm.
the Green Lantern in the show. What was weird was whoever subtitled this, or at least in the version that I watched, whoever subtitled it didn't know the deal because they put in John as in Martian Manhunter, not John as in Green Lantern. So that's just a little note. If you have subtitles on, then you may run into that and you may
Oh.
think, oh, that's why Miss Martian's here. No, she was talking about John Stewart, and whoever subtitled it got it wrong. That's what that was.
Mm.
And I came to that conclusion because it is mentioned twice that most of the Green Lantern Corps is on Ran.
Yeah.
And it would make sense for her as a Green Lantern to be referring to another Green Lantern, one with experience and who is known for being in this world and with this league. So, um, that was interesting. But over at the news station, Bloodsport has taken everybody hostage. Did you watch the newest live action Suicide Squad movie?
The newest.
Yeah, where
Is that
Idris
the
is in
one
it.
with the weasel?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
So Idris plays Bloodsport in that. And
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and that version of Bloodsport is a lot cooler
Cooler.
than this one.
Yeah. Yeah. This was like some kind of freedom fighter redneck. Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, like conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. I
Um,
didn't even recognize who he was when
exactly. Like
yeah.
I didn't because I was like, I think because I whenever that movie came out, I remember looking up Bloodsport because I didn't know who he was, and the way that he looked in the comic book, and then the way that he looked when Idrissa played him, I was like, oh, that's a change.
Yeah, and then they didn't give in this movie they didn't give him any type of clout or anything, dude. Like,
Useless.
yeah, he missed every shot he fired.
Yeah, like what are you
Yeah,
doing?
every shot he fired, he missed. They did a good job of Harley, right? Harley was whipping ass for Batman, put her down. Was
Oh
that
yeah,
Ivy as
yep.
well? Was that Ivy? Ivy did an okay job for Batman, but Bloodsport just got wrecked. I think he was there for a comedic relief. because they didn't give him anything.
DC kind of just like reached in the bag to find
Yeah,
somebody, and they were like, "All right, Bloodsport can do it." Because again, the and maybe it's a situation where that is Bloodsport, and what the Suicide Squad movie did enhanced him significantly and just made him cool because he wasn't. Because yeah, like that looked like Bloodsport in the comics, and
yeah.
I don't know much about his history, but I just kind of figured, oh, what Idris did is how Bloodsport should be.
That's how we want to see him anyway.
And that was not what happened here.
No, not at all.
And so Miss Martian, handles the situation, and Batman kind of goes over like, hey, these are the things that, we could work on.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not trying to be here with no teenagers. And then she turns into Robin, and he's like, all right,
I
I, I,
know,
I see
good.
what you did there.
Yeah, I was hey, hey, man, I saw that. I said, yo, I said that was low.
But it was hilarious
Yeah.
because when he said it, that's what I thought. He was like, I hate working with teenagers. And I was like, you're the what? And then again, she didn't say anything. She
It's
just
like your
turned
preferred
into
sidekick.
Robin. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're funny. And I'm glad the Batman was like, you got me.
Yep.
Okay. Because yeah,
Yep.
there was nothing else to say.
Yep.
But she's
But
trying to
that was
prove herself to the league. And if you watch Young Justice, Miss Martian is a huge part of Young Justice. Like she's a part of the
yeah.
main squad, and she's very involved. And I love Miss Martian from Young Justice. Like she gets things done.
Okay.
And so yeah, if you ever need some Miss Martian, yeah, Young Justice is a good representation of her in my opinion. And so then we see Mr. Terrific and Superman, studying the sphere, trying to figure it out. And Mr. Terrific is like, I have no idea what this is, and I love it. It's been so long since I've had a challenge.
Yeah.
So let's figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And Mr. Terrific, he's probably in the like top 5 for smartest people in the DC universe. Like he's
Oh,
he's
wow.
he's up there.
This is my first time seeing him too.
Yeah, and he's been in a few things. I think the main thing that a lot of people would recognize him from is in the show Arrow. Uh, he's in Arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in a few seasons of Arrow. He goes by Curtis, or his name is Curtis, in Arrow. But yeah, he ends up being Mr. Terrific. So yeah, and then yeah, you'll just kind of see him randomly, but I think that's where people would know him or would see him on a more regular basis.
Oh, wow.
So, he and Superman, they're, talking through things, trying to figure out what this sphere is, and um, eventually they're able to, bust it open, and so 3 people come out swinging,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a problem. Those dudes are, not playing around, and the I I know what their names are, but I definitely was calling them the Axeman, the Handyman, and the Half a Man.
That's hilarious.
So the Axeman was getting stuff done.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. My favorite. He was my favorite the entire time, man.
yeah, and he said they call him the Persuader for a reason.
Which is crazy to me. The name
That's a great name.
is it is it so it was The Rock, right? Was one of their names, and it was like two of those The Rock or Thrain or
Yeah, it was Throck. There was Throck. There was the Persuader. Um, there was Emerald Empress, of course.
yeah,
There's Validus, who I think was the beastly one,
the
and
brain.
then I want to say Mono was the 5th one. That feels right. Mono. I think it was the name Mono. But yeah.
That sounds familiar.
So I think those are their names. Again, I was calling them
The
the
Axeman.
handyman, the
And
axeman, the half a man. And you know who's who.
yeah, yeah.
Uh
This is perfect.
yeah.
Perfect description. Yeah.
Axeman was the one with the axe, and that thing was serious.
Oh my god, dude! Superman getting cut was they did a really good job of showing that and explaining that quickly,
Yeah.
right?
Because
And
they
and
said because and the only thing that we have ever, or I'm not going to say that we've ever, but the main thing that is referenced that is that sharp is Wonder Woman's sword. That is, sharpened down to the nanometer
Yeah,
and can pierce literally anything like down to the atomic level.
yeah.
And so, yeah, the fact that they were like, it's the 31st century, of course they have figured that out. Then it's like, all right, cool. I'm glad that they did explain that, and because I was thinking like, how Superman
Yep,
is maybe
yep.
like, what are we doing? And then they were like, no, that's why. Uh, that's how sharp it has to be in order to even think about cutting Superman. It was like,
Yep. They
okay,
they Superman has been built up so much that anytime anything happens to him, it has to be immediately explained. Right?
yes,
It
that is
has to
correct
be.
because people like us are going to be like, how?
Yep. 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 He got cut. I said, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I was like, who's this random that just tried to eviscerate the Man
Yep.
of Steel?
Yep.
And but I think it was to let you know how formidable he is because I mean the Axeman, he was out there working.
Yeah. Every time he made the clutchest plays in the entire movie.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the clutchest, right, for the Fatal Five.
And so over at Arkham, Starboy's there just living.
Dealing with Two Face.
Like honestly, Starboy's fine. And Two-Face is, trying to big brother him, be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is how you handle yourself. And that's another situation where they kind of address mental issues because a lot of people don't or a lot of times we don't see Two-Face with two personalities. I think that that's pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we just see him like he's Harvey and he's fine, and then he's Two-Face and he's not.
Right.
But pretty recently we've started to see that he has like two distinct personalities that talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like a back and forth, and you can see like the different personalities and like who's talking when. And
Yep.
I'm glad that they've added that to Two-Face. It gives him some dimension. And so we have seen that in earlier movies, but I think it's relatively recent that they have started doing that with Two-Face because all
Yeah.
of the older versions of Two-Face that we see are just crazy man.
Yep. And he came across more bipolar, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Or like dissociative personality disorder. Is that what that's called? I don't know. There's a term for it, but
Yeah.
the one where you have more than one personality. But I think multiple personality disorder has been like that's not the proper terminology for it anymore.
Oof.
Um
Don't ask
but
me.
yeah, Starboy's in there, just being compliant,
Yep.
just following rules and learning how things work. And then he sees that same fight on the TV and he's like, oh shit, that reminds me, I was here to do something.
Yep. Eight
And
months,
so
9 months later. Yeah.
he's using his gravity powers to break out, and that's when we see the Batman's got to fight a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was wondering why is Poison Ivy just using her hands, but of course she doesn't have any plants around, so yeah, she's gonna have to use her hands. uh and yeah, Harley was working
Working.
like
Working.
Harley, and I was like, yeah, she need to be locked up with the way she treating y'all.
Yep. Yep. She, it, she was going off. She was
Yeah,
going off.
and just giggling,
Yep.
matter of fact cackling over there, just having a good old time.
She said, "Oh, we free."
Yeah.
Yep.
So he uses his powers to break out because he's got stuff to do. And so the League, they meet up and they're like, hey, Superman, you good? You I've never seen you on a table before. Like, what's going on? But they're able to compare notes and they go over like, hey, these are the things that I know, these are things that you know. Cool, we have kind of pieced together that they are from the future. And you know these are the things that Starboy said. So let's try to figure this thing out. And so they piece together through what he said, oh, they're going after Jessica. So they go to Portland and they just start destroying things to lure her outside.
Yep.
And it does work. one thing that I thought was hilarious was somebody's car got destroyed, and that dude was pissed.
Wasn't he a black dude too?
Yep. Yes, he was. And I'm so glad
He was like,
because,
yo.
yeah, because we see memes on the internet all the time of like, you're just a regular person and the Hulk throws your car at somebody and misses.
Yep.
And it's like, and I'm glad that they addressed it because that's something that in that world that absolutely happens
Yeah.
where you are minding your own business.
Yep.
And yeah, your car get used to clap somebody and it's like, oh,
Oh yeah. Is it a sign of our age that when we see Superman fight someone and push him through a wall, that we immediately think about how long it's going to take for them to fix it?
that is what
Right?
I think it
Dang, man, I
might.
wonder how long it's going to.
Because yeah, I very much think about the collateral damage every
Yeah.
time I see it. I'm like, oh God,
Yep.
billions of dollars.
God, dude, I wonder what traffic's gonna be like on that street. That's
Yeah, like
crazy.
yeah, like the people that have to come and like clean this up. I want the people that work there, are they gonna work from home?
Right?
Like, yeah, like I
Yeah,
yes.
dude. I wonder if they give PTO days for superhero, collateral,
Yeah, and
incident.
that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
one of the things I wonder is like in that world, do you get like insurance coverage for that? Because and I'm sure that they, knowing how slimy insurance companies are,
Yeah,
they
fact.
probably have it written in where it's like, no, we don't cover
Life
uh
insurance due
yeah,
to supernatural
yeah,
occurrences. Yeah.
yeah, metahumans, we don't cover that.
Yeah.
Because that's not a natural disaster.
Yeah.
That's terrorism. We don't
Yeah.
cover terrorist threats.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's that kind of
Yeah,
nonsense.
all the people that got screwed when they stopped the speeding train, from
Yeah,
90 to 2. Yeah.
yeah, all the whiplash, yeah, all
Yeah.
those people, medical bills, nope,
Yeah.
insurance ain't covering it.
Nope.
So yeah, there was a train. Yeah, Miss Martian stopped a train.
Yep.
But yeah, so one of the things that I really like is just, that like random rock music in the background while they're throwing hands. Like
Yeah.
that was some classic Justice League rock music and I love it.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yeah, it definitely brought me back to Saturday morning cartoons, like straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. And so um Superman shows up because Superman's hurt. They're not worried about Superman. But
Yep.
so when Superman shows up, they're like, "Oh shit, we should go." Cuz he's I know we fought him, but now he's ready this time.
Man, he
And
a
there's like
problem.
more of them. So we should leave. So they make a tactical retreat and then they're just kind of talking afterward and Jessica and Starboy kind of bond a little bit. They're like, hey, we're both we got some things going on. We've got some, we're not mentally 100%. And I'm a little messed up, you're a little messed up, and they
Yep.
just kind of bond. They
Yeah.
because to him she's a hero because he knows what she ends up becoming and all that. And
Right.
so yeah, she's kind of like, I'm not okay. And so for you to be looking at me as a hero, I don't know about that, but
Yeah. Yep.
whatever. And so Batman says to Miss Martian, "Hey, he's not mentally okay, so we can't just like have a conversation with him. So we need to know what he knows. I need you to link us." And she's like, what? I don't I don't think that's a good idea."
Right.
And Batman's like, "Nope, nope, I'm gonna need you to do that. We got things to do. So let's get it going." And again, in Young Justice, her doing mind links with everybody, very normal. Like that's
Yeah.
just how they communicate usually. They just have like a little telepathic uh you know in your ear system. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
very normal for her to do that as far as I
Crazy to
know.
me.
But yeah, they go into his mind and they see that the fight between the Legion and the Fatal Five happened, and that's where they're like, "Oh, there are five of them. That this makes sense. They're the other two right there." And they win, and the Emerald Empress, who is the HBIC, is
Yep.
like, there is no, y'all know can't no prison hold me. I don't even know why you're trying. There is
Mhm.
not a prison on this earth strong enough to hold me. And they were like, you are correct. However, we do have one plan. There's one thing we can do. And
Yep.
so we're going to take you to 1,000 years ago when there was, in fact, a prison that could hold you. And, maybe this is not a great way to look at it, but my thought is if you take her to a prison that today no longer exists, then I'm guessing she's not immortal and that she was just going to die in that prison. Because if she is immortal, like if aging isn't an issue for her, then eventually the Green Lantern Corps doesn't exist and
Mhm.
Oa doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So again, I'm assuming she's immortal, or I'm assuming she's not immortal, based on the fact that they were not worried about, yeah, we're going to send her to this prison that will eventually no longer exist.
Right. Well,
So,
what's the time gap? 1,000 year time gap?
1,000 years, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
let's assume she's not immortal. Um, yeah, she's like, no prison can hold me, so they take her to Oa, which, that's a good move.
Yeah.
Or they take them both. Yeah, they take her and the lodge one. And I was like,
Yep.
yeah, that was probably for the best. And they had her locked up. Like, you see that she only has her face out. And
Yep.
like the rest of her is confined. Like they
Yep.
have her in an iron lung. And
And she was still able to communicate
yeah,
outside of it. Yeah.
yes, she was. Because,
That was crazy. That's a testament to her power. A thousand
and
years.
yeah, and she was like, this is bullshit. I've been here for a year. What are you doing? And
Yep.
the handyman is like, hey, we're working on it. We're gonna get you, don't worry.
Oh
And
yeah.
so um they come out of his mind, and the Fatal Five is like, hey, here's the deal. We are going to flatten every city that we come across, starting with Metropolis, if you don't deliver the girl. So, very simply, bring us the girl, or bombs start going off. And bombs just started going off. Wasn't no time. They didn't say you have this. No, they just started blowing shit up.
Yep. Well, people
And
definitely died in this movie.
people died in this movie. There
People
was some
died
blood.
here. Which,
And then the Fatal Five contacts her and they're like, hey, we're not playing. Like, you know that for a fact.
yep.
Like, we don't bluff here. And so you need to come to this location and you need to come alone. And so she does. And, they're like, hey, take us to Oa. Or we start blowing up more shit. And she's like, no, no, please don't do that. Okay, fine. I'll take you to Oa. And she gets there, and one of the reasons that they very specifically chose this time, which they mention, is because
Green Lantern Corps was off on
yeah,
another planet. Yeah.
a lot of them are busy fighting a war, and
Yep.
so they are, severely understaffed. So if there's no time better than right now to take care of this.
You're right.
And so whenever she gets there, she says, situation green, and they knew that that meant there was a problem. I don't understand why they didn't get there faster if they knew there was a problem. Because I'm assuming that yes, they were understaffed, but they were still there.
There.
Like they were
Yeah.
they were still like they're still the planet wasn't empty. So the fact that there were Green Lanterns nearby, at least kind of nearby, and
Yep.
for her to say situation green, that means y'all knew there was a problem and y'all weren't there fast enough for her not to open up the things. Like y'all should have been there quicker.
Absolutely. I I I this is my least favorite part of this movie, right?
Mhm. Okay.
This is my least favorite part, and not because of the lack of action, but because I felt that it was so unnecessary. right? Or it could have been handled differently, right? Like we won't go into how Jessica could have literally just released them into space on the way there. I don't
Yep.
know why she just didn't let them go into the void vacuum of space. And they don't I don't think there's no means they have no means to survive in space. So
Correct.
she could have just literally opened up the bubble, right? The green bubble that was protecting them, right?
Dropped them.
And just let them go into space. I don't understand that. Okay.
Same.
And then we get there. I get my dopamine soars through the ceiling when I see Kilowog, right? I go, okay, and I totally wanted him to just smash, and he did.
Go to
And he
work. Yep.
did. It was going to work. The fight was great, right? Right. The fight was great until it
Until it
wasn't
wasn't. Yep.
until it
Until it wasn't.
wasn't. And then props to the Emerald Empress because she didn't fuck around. She killed everybody.
She was
She
about
killed
fucking business.
she killed
And
God.
that's the thing. Whenever she came out, I was like, oh, that's why y'all had her locked up like that. Like,
She
she's the HBIC. Like, yeah, we
just
need to do something about her.
killed everybody. And I was like, see, I was like, it was two of y'all there. I was like, are these the only countermeasures we have? Right? I was like, was y'all two to protect the whole planet
But
or the
I'm
prison?
sure, I'm sure that they figured, A, ain't nobody gonna attack Oa. B, we have two of our best and most skilled, and no one can beat those two. Like, surely there would never be. And thirdly, what reason would anyone have to come here? Like, I'm sure that they figured, no, we're fine. Being understaffed is not going to be an issue because they didn't see this problem coming. And so
It's a maximum security prison,
it's headquarters.
right?
Like
And
it's
headquarters, yeah.
yeah, it's HQ. Like you
And
leave some people to protect that.
yeah, right. God, and you let the war go. Yeah,
Yeah.
not go, but
I mean,
you
yeah,
manage it from you
yeah,
keep your home safe, and then you manage it from there. I was
yeah,
just like, it was two of these motherfuckers on the planet,
two of them.
right? I was like, the Fatal Five when it came and wrecked y'all anyway.
Yes.
They could have changed the whole trajectory of the movie. They said, you know what? Fuck it. Everybody here's dead. We can just run this place now, right?
But the thing is, A,
Yeah.
they needed a lantern to open up the cells.
Yep.
And if they did just stay there, then all of the lanterns coming back would have been a problem.
Yeah. You're right. Facts.
And the Fatal Five, they're from the future, so I don't know if the lanterns
Mhm.
know about them or not, but I'm sure that the lanterns were like, oh yeah, they got defeated by the Legion, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, they knew about Oa. I mean, not Oa, excuse me. They knew about the Emerald Empress,
Yeah,
right? I'm
because she
assuming
got
when
dropped off. And so yeah, like the fact that they dropped her off and oh boy, I'm sure that the Guardians were like, I
somebody
need you to
shares some
yeah,
information. Yeah,
you need to tell us literally everything
yeah. Like
because
who
we
the
need
fuck?
we need that
Yeah.
for the record book.
Yep.
And so
And the movie made a specific note to say that Jessica, they needed Jessica specifically, but I don't understand that, right? Because all
I
they needed was the lantern, but in technically to open it, but they said they needed her.
I think that uh the movie needed to happen, but
Why?
B,
Yeah, for the plot.
she was the one who was not like she was the easiest because if they, studied the time period, then they would know that she was not fighting the war on Ran
Mm-hmm.
and that she was the least seasoned and the easiest to, I guess, manipulate or whatever. Because I'm thinking there are like five human Green Lanterns, but and that's five that I can think of. But I think that because if it had been John Stewart would be like, hell no, we're not doing that,
Right.
and then he would have gave him the work. But she wasn't able to do that, I guess, and
Mm.
so
So they used because they thought she would be the most mentally unstable, right? The
I
way they
yeah,
manipulate. Yeah.
that's what I'm guessing is that, and that may, and it may also, they picked her because of the time period they came in during, because again, if they had come on some other year, then it may have been a different Green Lantern that happened to be there at the time. But
Yeah.
I think that like everything just aligned for it to be her.
Yeah. I get it.
But you know, the movie needed to happen is
Yeah.
usually the answer. And
That pissed
so
me off.
Jessica, I mean, again, I don't know why they weren't there before she opened the cells, but whatever. That's fine. So the Fatal Five, they, you know, they put Kilowog and, oh boy, down, and I knew his name yesterday and don't know it today. The other Green Lantern,
Yeah.
Salak. There it is. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they get, yeah, it's their light work, and again, because the Emerald Empress doesn't play around, she collapsed everything.
Nope.
And then she said to the Eye of Ekron, go ahead and charge up real quick. Now, I
The
am
entire
assuming I,
Lantern Corps.
I'm assuming that she siphoned off the entire battery.
She did. She
Now,
100% did.
if she siphoned off the entire battery, then how are any lanterns doing anything?
Exactly. I imagined they just fell out the sky.
Yeah,
Right.
all of
Like,
them just turned off.
exactly. And so that wasn't mentioned. Like when Jessica, it was just plot armor. We're just gonna have
The
to say
power of
plot
friendship.
armor.
Yep.
Yep. She just
She
she
power
she
friendships her
yeah,
way back up.
she said the oath, and I was just like, you know what? I would believe this if she did not take every single thing out of the core, right? If she wouldn't have siphoned the entire core, not only did she siphon the entire core, she killed everybody there. So
Yep.
everybody there was dead, right? And then she siphoned the core. So how do you say the oath, right? Like, because you can't pull something from nothing,
Yep.
right?
That is same thing. So that's literally the same boat. I said, okay, so if that thing siphoned off the entire battery, then how did she then have any power to repair her ring and get her home?
How the fuck did she get home?
The fuck did she get home?
How the fuck
Because
did she get home?
again, the power of friendship. She wakes up just enough to say the oath, her ring repairs itself because the persuader cut that
That
thing
that
off.
was so cold too. That
Yeah,
was such a cold moment. I was
the
like,
precision required for
yeah,
that, yeah, like my
yeah,
man's is good.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
need him on the team.
yeah, yeah.
Like
That was
he
cold.
earned his paycheck.
Yep, yep.
And
You
so
can't reward something that dope in a movie with the power of friendship. Like you gotta. There has to be something equally as dope, right? Or we
nope.
just go, oh, you cheated, right?
Yep, the power of friendship. That's how it's
Yep,
gotta be.
yep.
And so she again, she wakes up and she's like, "Oh no, Kilowog, my friend. Green Lantern's might." And then her ring fixes itself, gets back on, and she, I think, what does she like, drag their bodies out of the rubble, and
Yes,
then is like,
yep.
"All right, ring, take me home. I'm gonna take a nap."
Yes, that's exactly how it went.
And
Exactly.
so the League is able to handle the bombs, and the Fatal Five, they come back to Earth and they like go get the time sphere. And uh Curtis had the audacity to say, "Oh, the sphere is somewhere safe, you know, being guarded by some
By
humans with
by
some
you
guns.
by by humans.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
in a
face.
safe place." No, Curtis, it's not.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Safe, and maybe safe meant like hidden and unfindable, but these are people from the fucking future, and so none of that matters. They probably have a tracker for that time sphere. They did
Yeah.
arrive in it. And
Yep.
so,
Mr. Terrific killed all those people. He was the reason that all those people had to die.
yep,
Death by tentacle.
yeah,
Right?
because yeah, they figured, yeah, Argus is a safe place for it
No,
with,
yeah.
you know, some dudes with some guns.
Nope.
No, that was
He
stupid.
set you up. Mr. Drippy set you up, set all of you up because them members came through killing everybody, and that was a
Everybody.
cold ass walk too. Just and I was just like, oh my god, just watching them die left and right.
Yeah. She was the HBI. She did not play around.
Not a
She
not an
didn't play
ounce.
no games. She got right to it.
Yep.
And so she also was like, and what we're going to do before we leave, we're going to destroy their son.
Which was a great move. Which was a
Yeah.
great play.
Yeah. She's like, we're going to destroy their son and then we're going to leave. And then we won't have anything to worry about because they will have lost all of their inspiration. They will have lost all of their hope. There will
They
be
would be
nothing.
dead.
Yeah. Nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Like it'll be over. This
It was
planet will be gone.
it was a genius play. It was a genius play. She made the as far as villains go, she made the right call, right?
Yep.
The,
And
the,
when she said, well, okay, we'll get there in a second. But so she comes up with this plan, and again, like we said, great plan. Uh, the Justice League make their way to the Time Sphere, and they start fighting. So the two that are outside, they are able to hold them off for a little bit. But
Mhm.
I'm glad we got to see Wonder Woman go to work a little bit, and I love Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they're able to kind of solo the two that are outside.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, everybody handled their op, right?
Yeah. And this is a don't you don't want a rematch. It's very much you don't want a rematch situation because the first time they fought, it didn't go quite well for the league, but that
Yeah,
second time, yeah, the league was like, "Oh no, we're not doing that
yeah,
again."
yeah.
And and let me say this, Batman put the paws on the handyman. Like,
You talk about that backflip, throw the three, throw with the
yeah,
three mines, right?
Batman put the paws on it because again, Wonder Woman's fight, Superman's fight, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman literally just put his hands on him
Yes, he
and
did.
defeated him. I mean, other than those three bombs, yeah, because
Yep.
it was literally like if he touches you, you will melt.
Yep.
Batman was like,
Yep.
"Come on,
Oh yeah.
Skeletor."
With the pressure point, right? Hit him,
Yeah,
caught him in the ribs. The kid,
yeah,
yeah, he was messing him up.
pieced him up. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
oh, and that's the thing. I love it because Batman's fight choreography is usually just really well done.
Yeah.
And one of the things we don't really get to see that in this universe because it was the early 2000s and so that wasn't really a thing, but we
Right.
usually just see Batman like dodge big punch and that's like how he fights. But yeah, this we got to see him like do some choreography and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yep.
really glad that we got to see him put the paws on him.
Yeah, that was dope. I do think that Wonder Woman's fight was the best fight though,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Just because and she's dope, but her fight was the best fight because of the Persuader, right? That's
Yes.
exactly why her fight was the best fight because because it's every time she blocked the axe, you were just like in your mind, you're just like an inch this way and your hand's gone, your
Yeah.
arm's gone, or so it's
Would have been
like
over. Like
yeah.
you got to be real precise, Wonder Woman, because yeah, like he could leave you dismembered.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I know what I don't understand. She got hit with like a laser beam because he shot a laser beam at him, but she didn't block it with her gauntlets, right?
Mhm.
Because normally those doesn't her gauntlets reflect? Isn't that what they
Yes.
do? Right? But they didn't do that. She didn't use them. They didn't show that in this one, right? And
Yeah.
so it kind of I guess they can't I guess I can't expect to see everything in every movie, but
Yeah. And that's okay. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I
but
was
yes,
really like,
usually that is the case.
yeah,
They usually she's usually blocking like bullets with it,
yeah, absolutely.
but anyway, four of the Fatal Five members get handled, and then they all meet up with the Empress, and she just immediately handles them
Yep.
because she's too fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
And
And then comes the explanation on how she got Superman.
yep. And she's like, P.S. This is mimicking kryptonite, so that's why he's
Yep.
useless. I was like, appreciate that. Thanks. I needed it.
They know what they got to do for us.
Yeah.
So
They knew we needed those explanations.
yep.
And so she's like, cool. Eye of Ekron, go ahead and handle the sun for me real quick. Thanks. And they hop in the time sphere and they're like, all right, we can leave. And she said in 3 minutes, it's going to be over. 3 minutes is crazy because it takes the speed of light. It takes the sun's light 8 minutes to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the Eye of Ekron was moving more than double the speed of light. And that means that Superman, whenever they because Jessica, she comes, she stops the time sphere from leaving, they have a fight, she uses the power of friendship to win the day, and
Yep.
then Superman is like, all right, cool, do we still have any time left to go get this thing? And he reaches it to the point where he almost touches it.
Yep.
So that thing is flying more than double the speed of light, which means that in order to catch it, Superman was flying something crazy as far as like
Yep.
math goes. And Superman, and I'm sure they didn't like think about that when they wrote this up, but like I'm like y'all didn't put the numbers to that because it's stupid. Like
Yeah.
you talk
He,
about,
he caught up to it.
yeah, like
Had
he
a
was
lead
about to
on.
touch it.
Yeah.
And
Yes. So Superman was flying faster than the eye. Right.
yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that he caught up to the eye means
Mhm.
that it was crazy how fast he was
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah.
And the fact that he like almost touched it was absurd. Like
Yep.
he should have, as fast as he had to go to get there, he should have caught it. But
Hmm.
whatever. So and then I guess uh Jessica was flying fast too because she wasn't like at the sun, but she was pretty close.
Yeah. Didn't she catch him? She caught Superman, right?
Well, Superman was flying like he had been like repelled back.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah, she caught him from
but yes.
falling. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, she also was flying very fast. And then that is when Starboy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to go in there and hold the sun together."
Hmm. And I saw that as soon as the sun started exploding, I was like, okay, the sun can't explode, right? I was like, it can't
Yeah,
explode. I was like,
it
so what are
can't
they
be
gonna do?
over.
Yeah, I was like, so what are they gonna do, right? And then I thought about it, and I was just like, oh shit. I
And
was
that's the
like,
thing, like it's so funny that they didn't take the speed of light calculation into consideration, but they did take into consideration the fact that his name is Starboy and his power is gravity.
mm-hmm.
And that's what
That's
he
it,
needs
yep.
to hold the sun. I'm like, oh, so y'all thought about that part,
Yeah, yep,
but y'all didn't think to say like 10 minutes
yeah.
maybe.
Oh
But
yeah.
whatever,
and,
that's
and,
fine.
and that was some of the best dialogue. That was like one of my favorite lines in the movie. He was like, it's not gonna work. It can't be pushed. It has to be pulled
Yep.
together, right?
Yeah.
And then
And
he did
again, that
that.
spoke to the gravity thing. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I was like, there you go. I was like, this whole movie fucked you, bro. Like you had the worst trip to this entire movie,
Yeah.
right? To go out like this, Starboy.
And
I was like,
what's funny to me is they're again, like they explain so many things. There's so many things that are logical and that make sense, but then the power of friendship is what wins. Like, so there are things that make perfect sense, and then there are things that make no fucking sense in
yep,
the same movie. Um, because again, they go out of their way to explain certain things,
yep,
and I love that they did that. I needed that.
yep.
But
I do
then also they were like, through the power of friendship,
too.
the day is won. Victory. Hurrah.
Yeah.
Huzzah. And so he uses his gravity powers to hold the sun together.
Yep.
And presumably the Fatal Five is dead. We don't know. But we've learned that getting crushed usually means you're dead. So, and she does like bring down a mountain on them. So let's
They're
assume
not
they're dead.
they're not dead.
Okay. They
That
might not be.
wasn't
Who knows?
no. I no when villains die, they die, bro. Like and they make a point to show them dead. You know, they no I don't think there's been anything where something has fallen on them and there wasn't a dramatic like death, you know, like in the script or you know where they highlight it that they haven't. No, they keep it vague like that because they plan on them coming back. Right.
Well, yeah. So,
Yeah.
uh, you know, they get crushed. And then at the funeral, uh, they're, reading that Starboy was a wonderful guy, that they had actually, and actually, I was thinking like y'all just met, but they'd actually known him for a while. Um, or I guess Batman had known him for a while, but
Well, but he was in Arkham though, so they don't
yeah,
know
that's
he's a
why.
wonderful guy.
But I
Yeah.
mean, Jessica bonded with him, and
Yeah.
they made good friends.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
Jessica is a fuck boy, first of all. She's a fuck girl, however you want to say it. She she said, no offense to anybody here, but Starboy is my hero, right?
yep.
I was like, girl, I was like, do you know who you talking to? Like, you're talking to Superman,
Like, do you know who's in the room?
you're talking to Wonder Woman, and you're talking to Batman. Okay, like these are the people that you're talking to. Okay, I get it. You liked him, right? He did save the day this time.
But also, yeah, you liked him, but when you were in his mind, you saw he had a girlfriend, and you were like, oh, she's cute. Over there salty about it.
They're
Okay.
cousins. They're cousins. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe they're related.
yeah. I
Oh, okay.
said,
All right.
I was like, she disloyal. I was like, you ungrateful piece of shit. I take the hand out.
But
You
yeah,
can't
that
get
was
Justice League.
but again, I understand why she was like, yeah, he was my hero because I watched him sacrifice himself to save us instead of, wanting to go. But if he didn't do that, there would have been no time to go back to. So that's the move.
There you go.
But he
Absolutely.
was like, see, I told you I'm a hero.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, right? I probably stacked Starboy's logo on me. Like he was dope,
Yeah,
right? He was definitely dope. Uh even though he got fucked the whole movie. They
whole
literally
movie.
gave him a handicap, right? This entire movie.
Yeah. He
Right? And he was still all about it.
and that's like, yeah, like at no point was he on his medicine. And
Mm.
he still saved the day.
Yeah. And that was so sad and crazy, man. I
Yep.
was just like, I was like, God, there's no way, Miss Martian could have went in there and done something, tweak some things. No, he was just
Nope. I
it
mean,
kind
she
of
maybe could have, who knows, but
yeah.
um if she could, she'd be doing that for everybody, I guess. And it
That's
wouldn't
right.
be it wouldn't be authentic. It'd be, manufactured. But that's what the drugs are doing, so I guess it doesn't matter. Um
I think that's right.
anyway. Uh so yeah, the Legion shows up from the future and they're, paying their respects and all that. And yeah, Miss Martian is a member of the League now. So Batman's like, "Hey, you passed. You in there?" So, cool.
Where was John?
Martian Manhunter?
Yeah,
Unclear.
yeah. Like I'm not throwing shade on her being in the league, but I thought he was already in the league.
He was.
So
He
I was
was
like,
indeed. And there could be more than one of certain people. Like you know,
I
there
guess
could be a couple lanterns in there. There can be, they got options. But yeah, Martian Manhunter was not in the movie. And I think that he wasn't in the movie because if he was, then we would be like, why is Miss Martian not with him? Because that if anybody's gonna mentor a Martian, you would think it's the
yep,
Martian.
yep.
But they wanted to pair her with Batman, which was an interesting dynamic.
Which was very interesting. Even
So
even we voted. And then he said, I didn't tell you how
yeah,
I
you don't
voted.
even know how I voted. And
Yep.
if I'm her, I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm in. So,
Nope.
but
But it was a
so
great movie. I I,
scale of
I
scale of one to
enjoyed
ten.
it.
What are you thinking?
Scale of 1 to 10. I I give the movie I give it a 9.
Okay,
I would give it a 9.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I did like it. I did like it. Um, and it gave me everything that I wanted or that I needed. I'll say that. Gave me everything that I needed. The action was on par. I actually dug the storyline a lot of the plot. Um, and I did have questions, right? Like it didn't explain why Handyman was so obsessed with Emerald Empress, right?
I think they were just like they were just in love. They were together.
Yeah, and and so I wish there was, there was, I had a few questions like that in there, but but I enjoyed it absolutely, and the action was great. And I said, I Jessica pissed me off the whole movie, right? So the whole movie. I don't want to be insensitive to her mental issues, but damn.
But also, like,
I was like, but
come
damn,
on.
girl. Right. So,
Okay.
but her fight scene at the end was great. That was a good fight scene.
Yeah.
It was
Uh,
great.
she was, yeah, once she got her powers back, she was working.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know with what power, but whatever.
Yep.
So,
Right. Just yeah, power of friendship. There you go. Is immeasurable. And I but I but what the I would have probably given it a 10 if they didn't disrespect the hero so much. Even in the end, at the funeral, at the cemetery, right? The new Legion literally walks past them to go speak to Jessica, right? And you
yeah.
know me, I hate Jessica already, right? And I'm just like, what the fuck? Right? I was like, she literally hasn't been here the whole movie, right? She's the reason that the Empress broke out in the first place, right?
Yep.
And I was like, she's the one that put the sun in danger, right? And I'm just like, I was like, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman have been fighting the fight the entire, and Mr. has been fighting the fight the entire movie, and y'all gonna walk past fucking Superman, Batman, and straight to Jessica. So so the disrespect, right?
She's limelight or whatever, I guess.
Bro,
Like she ends up being, a really
essentially
big
the only
deal.
lantern left, if we want to speak,
That's what it's feeling
theoretically,
like. Ain't no battery. So yeah, Kilowog didn't make it.
right? Oh my
So
god, yeah. God, did they just want to kill him in this movie? That's it. They just wanted to get him out of there. Because I'm just like, you could have sent somebody else. You could have sent two random lanterns, right?
no, they had to demonstrate how much of a problem Emerald Empress was.
God. And then
But
hey, killed, killed him. And I was like, fuck.
yeah,
When I saw it too.
yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
But again, they had to she was we needed to know that there's a reason they risked all this to go get her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because
Mhm.
again, even whenever they fought the League, like they all got handled and she just dropped everybody.
Yep.
But she also had all the Green Lantern power, so um
Yep.
anyway, I'm going to give this a 7.5 because again, there were some things where I'm like, oh, really? That was the answer? Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. Uh I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Yeah.
There was some nostalgia in there for
Yep.
me because again, this is from the old universe. So
Mhm.
um I always love seeing an updated version of that universe because again, we get to see better fight choreography pretty much, but with
Mhm.
the,
With the updated. Yep.
yeah. And so that's I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
So
I do too.
um it was a good time. Um and I think I liked it this time more than I liked it the first time I watched it. So
Yeah. Oh, so you watched it back in
well
2019?
yeah, like I usually watch these when they come out
Yeah.
and then I watch them again for this because I'm going through all of them and it's a
Mhm.
good time.
Oh
There
yeah.
are some of them that again, like the second time I watch it, I'm like, that was better than I remember.
Yeah.
And then there's
Oh
some of
yeah.
them I'm like, ooh, that was yikes.
I get jaded. I get jaded by the time too, especially if I've been watching a lot of animes at the same time, right? You
Yeah.
kind of have to flip the switch, right? Because the dopamine that you get from watching a big, you know, triple A studio type anime fight,
Yeah.
compared to yeah. So you gotta flip the switch. And so I get
And
jaded sometimes as well.
yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, like it kind of if there are other things that I've watched recently or that I like have in mind because honestly Invincible is probably, making some stuff look a little not as good because Invincible is so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
that the X-Men 97 was cooking.
Yeah. Oh my,
So
yeah. And it's not fair, right? So it's not fair to judge them, right, based off what we have now.
yeah, because that's
Yeah,
these
but
movies are, older. Like this
yep,
movie is 5
yep,
years old. So,
yeah.
but it's still pretty good.
It's really good. Yeah. And they didn't make they did the heroes justice. They didn't let them get ass whooped all over the place, right? Like the fights, I definitely felt like Superman was beast, right? And he wasn't gimped or handicapped the whole movie, right? Like
Because
they
that
didn't make the
is
fight even, but they, multiple times addressed how this man needs to be addressed. Right? We're not just, we're not just ignoring Superman. We don't have a one quick fix. We're gonna put him out to fight, right? No, like it's like this motherfucker is coming. Get ready, right?
yeah.
And I appreciated that part of this, right?
I did too
So,
because and that's the one of the issues with the time period that this main universe happened is that they usually it hits Martian Manhunter a lot harder, but usually they have to dumb down Martian Manhunter and Superman in order to build stakes, like because
mm-hmm,
those two could end any situation immediately.
mm-hmm,
But in order for there to be like actual stakes, they kind of have to like reduce their power significantly.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like this movie did a good job of saying, like, since these people are from the future, they are formidable,
Yep,
but
a
Superman
thousand
can
years in the
still get
future.
it done if he needs to. Like, that's why when
Yep.
Superman, who was still recovering from his injury, when he showed up, they were like, "Oh no, we have to leave. Like,
Yep.
we can't stay here. We have to go."
Yep. Kind of fine now. So, yep.
So,
So, and
um,
I and that yeah, I appreciate those moments too. That attention to detail and that time that they take to do that because it's like, don't build somebody up. Don't build somebody up. That's what they did to Naruto in Sasuke, right? And Boruto. But another conversation. We won't go
yeah.
there.
All right. Anything else on the movie?
No, man, I think I got all my frustrations out with Jessica.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. In the next episode, we will be discussing Batman Hush. So until then, salutations.